Good evening out there. Welcome to the live drive. This is the office, and I'm Olaoluwa, where today we are diving into a crucial topic for small and medium-sized enterprises. Setting up an HR department, that's no small thing. Whether you're a business owner, HR professional, or someone navigating the dynamic world of the MSMEs, stay tuned as we explore essentials of establishing an effective HR department. And interestingly, today we have, an expert to educate us on that. She is the managing consultant and director, Leap World Limited, and she is, a very well experienced HR professional, Dr. Funke Medun. Good afternoon, Dr. Funke. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you too?
Yes, I am fine. Thank you very much for joining us. So, we intend to cover a lot today on the show. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about the essential guides for setting up an HR department. We'll be looking at what should be the approach of the HR in the MSMEs. I think we need to start with that, Dr. Funke. What is even the importance? Why set up an HR department? Because we see so many small businesses, they just come up, there's a sole proprietor, and he feels that, or he or she feels that I can run it all. I want to be the one recruiting, I want to be the one managing the staff, I want to do it all. But why is it important to have a department for that and have professionals man that department?
All right, thank you very much. So let's look at it this way, that in any organization, when you look at factors of production, you look at capital, you look at man, you look at land. If you put everything together and there's no man, there's no business. So there's this concept that we have in research, and we call it the theory of knowledge management. And it's a concept, and what it says is that every organization's competitive advantage leverages on knowledge of the people, and that's human assets. Okay, so whether you're a small business or you're a big business, whether you are the biggest in the world, every organization needs human beings. And the HR function in those large organizations is as important as having a small organization. Okay, because it is the level of investment you have in the structure and system that will help you to determine how well and competitive you can go as an organization. But you see, let's set a foundation. You were saying something about, sole proprietorship and all that. Because we're talking about MSMEs, let me set a foundation. What do we mean by MSMEs? What separates the different categories? So in Nigeria, we have what we call the MSMEs national policy.
Okay.
Okay. And it was reviewed in 2021. Before, we used to have what we call the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And that's what the acronym MSMEs stand for. But now we even have what we call NMSMEs.
Okay.
Where we have N as nano enterprises, or what you call homestead enterprises. You have the M, the micro, the small, the second M as the medium enterprises. So what distinguishes these different categories? For nano enterprises, from the Nigerian National MSME Policies 2021, we refer to people that have 1 to 2 human beings in their employment, or just only you. So those people you see, Me and Me Limited.
Okay.
Less than 3 million turnover, they are called nano enterprises. The micro enterprises are people that have between 3 to 9 employees, including the owners of the business, and turnovers between 3 to 25 million naira annually. Whilst the small enterprises have between 10 to 49 employees and 25 million to less than 100 million turnover, and the medium enterprises have between 50 to 199, less than 200 employees, but 100 million turnover and above to less than 1 billion naira turnover. So those are the three different categories. And that will set a foundation to what do we expect in these different categorizations. So you will imagine that they will not give HR system setup the same level of importance. They may not have the same kind of resources in terms of human beings and financial resources to manage their system. But do we agree that something called HR system needs to exist to help all of us in whatever size we call it? Yes, we all agree. So with that foundation, it is important to answer your questions directly.
All right, it is very important to have an HR or an HR department in whatever form, as mentioned by Dr. Funke there. So, what would you say are the essential guides for setting up an HR department and in an MSMEs? Now, we understand that we are talking about a different range of businesses. So, bearing that in mind, what are the essential guides here?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is, and I say this to even my colleagues, and talking to you, I'm going to wear different hats. So I'm going to wear the hat of an entrepreneur, okay, who operates in the MSME sector. I'm also going to wear the hat of a practitioner, HR person. Okay, so I tell my colleagues that if you find yourself to be an HR person, you first of all need to understand where your company is playing. Are they a micro? Are they a small? Are they a large enterprise or a medium enterprises? Your approach will be different. Okay, and that shows that's where you should start from, the foundation. Understand the basis first. Then, as the owner of the business, you have to agree, irrespective of your size, that having an HR system is very important. So when you know where you belong to, we start looking at what do I need to do? So you first of all look at the size of the organization. If there are 4 persons, 2 persons, 3 persons in the organization, and you are saying that they should have 1 person as HR, what's going to happen? You understand? And you have to also understand the characteristics of MSMEs. Okay, they are lean on resources, they are lean on skills, especially the nano and the micro enterprises. As you move from the small to the medium enterprises, they have more diverse skills in the organization. They have more resources. Cash flow is a bit stable, okay? So planning is easier. It's not going to be perfect, but it's easier for those ones. So let's come back. Irrespective of where you stand, first know, what is my strategy? What do I want to do? What does this organization stand for? What skills do we need to get this done? How many people do we have? How can we put our structure? So sometimes in small organizations, you can have 1 person handle multiple roles, but you must identify that you need to have a system that accounts for performance. We do say what is not measured cannot be monitored, and vice versa. What is not monitored cannot be measured. So someone has to have the responsibility of looking at what all of us are doing, trying to check the strategy. You can wear different hats in roles. Okay, so once you understand your strategic goal as an organization, and that's where you should start from. If you look at it from the owner of the business, so look at that. And even if you come in as an HR person and you want to set up an HR system in any size of these categories of small businesses I've mentioned, once you know that, then you develop a system to say, where do we start from? What skills do we need? Okay, how do we get this kind of people that we need into our organization? If someone is sitting on multiple roles, what do we need to do? You've identified the job roles, okay? Then you start looking at from cradle to death, from how people come into our organization to how they exit. And even if they exit, they're not dead yet, they still have a life after our organization. And, people move to what we call alumni structure as well. So if you look at that, from when they come in, how do we onboard them? What needs to be in place, from having a job description to giving them offer letter to, okay, they've come in. How do we retain them? What should we have in place? You start looking at remuneration system, your reward system, you keep looking at your training system, you keep looking at how do you measure their performance, okay? How do we get them engaged? Okay, what technology do we need to use? So by the time you start asking yourself those kind of questions, then, in case they want to leave, so I've talked about from How do we birth them into the organization? Oh, they are now in. How do we grow them? Okay, it's time to leave. Maybe people leave for different reasons.
Of
Okay,
course.
if they are leaving for maybe better opportunities, or they want to set up their own business, or maybe they're just not happy with the organization, or in worst case scenario there, So when people are leaving, how do we manage the knowledge that is in the organization so that new people can, we can have not knowledge loss, but we can have a continuous knowledge cycle management. Then when they leave, how do we exit them? Such that even if they leave, they can be ambassadors for our organization. And those are the things I say people should ask. So once you can think through from death, cradle to winning them to grow, to even when they're exiting. So you start thinking of how does it apply to my system? What budget can we put? What do we afford? But everybody needs to start thinking through that process and the journey in the organization. And you can now adapt it to the size of your own organization. Whether you want someone to take on multiple roles, but as you get bigger in size, you have to have people dedicated. In fact, in medium enterprises, you have to even look at the various value chains across the HR job function. Okay, so you can even unbundle the HR functions and have different people man different roles in the organization.
Oh, it's good to know that. Now, let us also take it to this, take it from this angle. To set up an HR department for small businesses, what are the essentials that you need in terms of documents, in terms of equipment, in terms of materials, apart from the human factor, what exactly would you need to invest, in to have a robust HR department for your business?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is let's look at the various chain, the value chain. Let's look at when people come in. So what kind of documentation? I usually will say that in this age of technology, you can't run away from technology.
Okay.
So I say technology is always very helpful. And it's even very good now that with the advent of AI, with the tip of your finger, at the tip of your finger, you can get support from different communities, even communities of practice, or even asking AI, asking Google and all that. But let's take it one step at a time from documentation, okay? Whether you want to invest in technology, if you can afford it, especially for the small and medium enterprises, I think you need to, I've already told you the different sizes of employees they have under the different categories. So for the micro enterprises, so if we assume that they, because of the size, may not be able to, and their cash flow, okay, I told you what their turnovers typically will be, may not be able to have so much financial asset dedicated to investing in HR, but they need to have someone that wear that cap in the organization. So from when people come in, what documents should you be looking at? Okay, I hear some people say, oh, there's no system, there's no structure, small businesses that the problem, because some people will not even give you something as basic as job description and offer letter. How do you engage someone? So I would say that start from how they come in. What documents do I need to have? I need to clearly understand what that person is coming to do. And that makes you look like a beautiful bride, like I would say. So I would say as a small business, don't say because you don't have so much money, you have to put structure and be attractive. You can't do the work alone. For you to grow your business, you need people. You can't do it alone, to grow. Okay, so have things around when they come in, like having the offer letters for them, their job description. When they come in, how do you onboard them into the organization? From something as basic as understanding, making them to understand your goals, your vision. If you have someone you've assigned that desk to, let the person have a small onboarding system, okay? Even maybe checking what other people are doing. If you move from that, how do you measure their performance? So there are tools. I don't want to call a particular software, but it can even be simple templates, which you can even get online. But you can have software that you can even leverage on. Some are even free, okay? If you go online, there are a number of software that we use in my practice, okay, that are even free that people can use to help them manage the process as tools. Or you can use simple Excel. Okay, so then you're looking at checking what training needs they will have and all that. As
Dr.
they're
Funke, before we move on, before we talk about their training needs and other important documents that are needed to set up the HR department, let's go on a very short break. It is still the office. We'll be back to have the rest of the conversation. Stay tuned to Lagos Talks 91.3. We will be right back.
Don't worry, I don't find my head.
I'm ready. You so far on me, finally. Yet happiness don't find me.
Get 8 times the value of every recharge, plus 1,000 Naira sign-up bonus and double data with Airtel over Jara when you buy and activate a new SIM. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Hey people, exciting news. The We Niger Youth Fest is happening on the 9th of December at the Tech Experience Center, 13 Idowu Martin Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Imagine a festival of creativity, inspiration, and so much fun. It's not just a fest, it's a crash course in turning creativity into change. Make it a date with content creators and change agents like Kate Henshaw, Noisy Niger Pediatrician, Gift Israel, and Oluwada Best. Did I forget to mention, you can win lots of freebies by attending for free. Visit at NSSF_NG on Instagram for registration details. Be the first at WeFest by registering today. See you on the 9th of December. Ho, ho, ho! This December, it's a holiday homecoming at Ebony Life Place.
It's the most wonderful.
Gather your loved ones and let the festivities begin. Receive the gift of free cocktails for you and mocktails for the kids at Turaka Rooftop Restaurant. Indulge in a free slice of Christmas cake at the Ginger Restaurant. Enjoy movie packages at special prices at Ebony Life Cinema. And jingle all the way to an all-exclusive getaway at the White Orchid Hotel. For more information, visit Ebony Life Place on Instagram or call 0906 800 006 or call 0906 800 0006. Book now and experience the joy of this holidays at Ebony Life Place. There's no place like home.
A wise man once said, "He who walks and gets to sleep lives to walk better another day." Another one said, "All work and no good night's sleep. Don't work hard is human, but to sleep well, you are with me."
Indeed, because even the hardest worker could use some good night's sleep, the kind you'll get on Mocha Mattress.
Okay,
Visit
what did you want to tell me?
www.mocha.com or any of our retail outlets to experience all-round comfort for a good night's sleep. Mocha, adding comfort to life.
Join the conversation on the most relevant issues affecting the workplace, as well as the human resource patterns being positioned to solve them on The Office. Get notifications on
Okay,
available
so,
job listings and
who
advice
am I
on how
supposed to talk to
apply
on that?
featured experts in the industry every Thursday from 4:30
So I should just stay put,
to
right?
5 p.m. Only on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Dr. Funke.
Hello? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. This is the office on Lagos Talks 91.3, and this is where we talk about everything human resources, everything corporate organization. We talk about how to make the best of the resources, whether human, whether material, whether financial, just to make the best of it and get the highest rate of productivity. And I'm Olaoluwa. We're doing this with Dr. Funke Medun. She is the managing consultant and director, Leap World Limited. And we are talking about how to set up HR department for MSMEs. And before we went on that break, she did mention that, there are some essential documents you need to have, no matter how small a business you are. For example, if you're getting someone on board, which is very important, you can't do your business alone, according to her. You need to ensure that you have, something like an offer letter, job description, something to explain to whoever it is that you're bringing on board on how he or she should conduct, herself, or, what exactly to do, things like that. And she also mentioned training. And I think that's where we're going to pick things up from. Welcome back, Dr. Funke.
Yes, thank you so
Yes.
much.
You were saying something about training.
Yeah. So there is usually this notion that, oh, if you train them, they will leave. Okay. So, and we get that a lot. And so there was something I read recently that if you train them, what if they don't leave? Who is going to lose? So that's the analogy I usually give. Is it not better to train people? And with this JAPA system now, whether you train or you don't train, people want to leave anyway. And so the question is, what do I do to make them to stay? And if I can't help them and they leave, how can I still get the best of the knowledge I have, invested in with them? And that's why people look at what we call alumni system now. Okay, and organizations are leveraging on that when you clearly define what the scope of engagement should be. So investing in knowledge management is very important. And talking about the learning, I think the mistake sometimes we make is we think when we train people, they should just go. So I did a research, and my research area was on knowledge management system in organizations. And I was even looking at MSMEs. And do you know what my findings told me? What the finding of the research is that a lot of small businesses don't even understand what we call knowledge management system. Up to 90% of the people in my survey of almost 400 people in quantitative analysis do not have a clear knowledge management system in place. So even after they've invested in training, they do not institutionalize the knowledge. It is not moved from one person to the other. Or when the owner of the knowledge, the owners of the business are around, they don't even spread the knowledge. So organization suffers when there is a mobility of talent in those small businesses. In fact, there was another research that was done around 2022. And you know what that research also says that a lot of small businesses do not even understand 93%. That's what the research says, okay. And the research says that 93% of MSME entrepreneurs even have limited or zero knowledge of HR system setup in their own organization. And that's why we have problems even with training. You can't give what you don't have, I'm not saying that everybody should become an HR person overnight. But remember I said that what separates a nano business, a micro business, a small business, and a medium business will be the size of the employees they have, and their turnover. So it's either one person wears multiple hats and you have basic knowledge, or you find that knowledge or help or role outside by outsourcing, or by having someone to manage it in your organization. But as long as you have human beings you've aggregated to come and work for you. Someone needs to manage that system for you. If you have to do it as a nano or micro business, then you need basic knowledge and training yourself. And that training must be institutionalized so that as your organization grows, you can actually transfer that knowledge to another person you want to take.
Dr. Funke.
I was talking about.
Oh, okay. So I have two questions. I don't know how we're gonna do it because we have less than 3 minutes before the end of the program, but we'll try. And you have mentioned a lot about how to manage HR personnel within a small business. You can either have somebody wear the cap or, just have someone designated for that. But in all of this, is it very important to have a professional or to have someone trained specifically for this? Because we have seen a good number of people that have been asked to fill in the gap or wear the cap make some very, very, some very silly mistakes. And for example, when it comes to drafting an offer letter, when it comes to, drafting, a document for the employees to sign, we've seen people get things wrong one way or the other. So what is the place of training or professional training in all of this?
All right, so thank you very much. You see, this is where CIPM comes in. The Chartered Institute of Personnel Management have a desk, and one of the things the current leadership is also looking at is having a support system, okay, to support MSMEs in Nigeria. If you look at the current survey, NBS report and Medun report of 2021-2022, you see that MSMEs make up for over 87% of job created in Nigeria, okay? So it is important we actually pay attention to them and the skill that they need to grow their business because they need human beings. So one of the things CIPM has been doing as a body is to make sure that before you practice the profession of HR, you go through the requirements that you need to know what you need to know. And so I will encourage that if you want to practice the job of HR, you have to come to an institute like CIPM to get grounded, to get the skills that you know. And if you are a small business, it's also important you look for people that are trained to play that particular role. So you don't just employ anybody, employ people that are trained and certified. And if you're a small business that you wear many hats, you can join the community of practice. There's so many groups that you can join to help you brush your skills, that you can even ask questions to get help and support. Because I tell you, looking at the categorization I gave you, they can't have the same level of investment in employing professionals, but you can get help irrespective of the level you are. And if you must employ someone to play that role, employ a professional, someone certified. And that's why we have the institute like a CIPM, to provide those kind of skilled and certified professionals.
Thank you very much, Dr. Funke Medun. I'm afraid we have now come to the end of the radio chat. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the knowledge you're imparting, the wisdom, and for all that you do. And I am Olaoluwa Awe, the news lady. This is where we transition to another amazing programming we have prepared for you. Critical Thinking comes up next on Lagos Talks 91.3. You want to stay tuned for that.
All right, thank you, Olaoluwa. So I guess we are good. You're welcome. Okay, so I've seen your face. Yeah.
So,
bye.
Please just give me a second to...
Lagos Talks. The nation listens. So Lagos Talks on 91.3. Be heard. Have your say. Join the conversation on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Join the conversation on the most relevant issues affecting the workplace, as well as the human resource patterns being positioned to solve them on The Office. Get notifications on available job listings and advice on how to apply from featured
Hello,
experts
I
in
guess
the
I can
industry
exit now,
every
right?
Thursday from 4:30 p.m. to
I
5
guess I can
p.m.
exit now.
Only on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Dr. Funke.
Well, I can exit now, right?
Okay, so Dr. Funke, it's nice to meet you. I will
Yes,
drop,
so
could you please drop your number, or should I drop, let me drop mine. Let me try to, I'm not quite sure.
okay, so what do you sent you my number? I guess I can exit now, right?
Just hold on a bit. Let me copy. Yes, you can. All right, thank you very,
Okay, you needed my number for what?
No, I just want to probably, do a follow-up in case we have similar programs of on this topic so that we can always reach out to you.
Okay, Olala. So you can send me a message. That's my WhatsApp number. I've also sent you my email address.
Oh, yes, I've seen it. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.